Hello, and welcome to A Peace in Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Gorley, and this is the podcast where you get to listen to an excellent young adult novel and then get a little bit of commentary. After the chapter's over, you'll get to hear a little bit of the goods, and listen to the hopes and dreams and thoughts and love and whatever kind of slush or whatever I feel like talking about. All right, so today we are in chapter 14. So we are inching closer and closer and closer to Jen's big debut in the play. So here she is. She is getting closer and closer to time. And she's looking forward to hanging out with her friends. And that's pretty much it. So let's get right into it and see what you think. All right, chapter 14. Friday brought some much-needed sunshine. It had been a rainy beginning to fall. While it wasn't cold, it wasn't a cold, bone-chilling rain like sometimes they got in western Ohio. It was nonetheless wet, and Jen was sick of it. The sunshine matched Jen's countenance. She was feeling upbeat this Friday. Jen still had not been able to get a hold of Morgan. Last she heard, Morgan was grounded, and that was about 3.5 weeks ago. Since Jen had met Morgan in second grade, the longest that she'd ever been grounded for was a couple of days. Jen wondered whether Morgan was still grounded or if she was just ghosting her. However, this Friday, Jen had plans to hang out with her best friend Britta from Jefferson High School. Jen and Britta played tennis together last summer when they worked at Jefferson Country Club. It had been a couple of months since they had hung out, so Jen was happy to catch up and to actually spend time with someone that wasn't Lena or Ronnie, and especially since Morgan had been MIA. While Jen and Britta didn't really hang out very much, since they went to different schools, Jen liked that they always kind of picked up right where they left off. Jen hopped off the bus and went inside. As she was putting her backpack down, she heard the phone ring. Thinking it was probably Lena, she reluctantly grabbed it. Hello? Hello, Jen? Hey, Britta. How's it going? Not good. Apparently, my lame parents have relatives coming in from out of town. They completely did not tell me either. Or maybe they did, but I wasn't listening. They're always rambling on about stupid stuff. Anyways, Jen, I'm so sorry. My parents are ridiculous. Jen's heart sank. She didn't say anything. She didn't even know what to say. Jen, are you still there? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, we'll hang out soon, okay? I'll message you next week and we'll hang out soon. Yeah, Jen said unenthusiastically. All right, well, I gotta go. My parents are making me clean. Bye. Bye. Jen ran upstairs and fell onto her bed. She lay there face down, angry and disappointed. The one time I have plans to actually enjoy my life, my friend cancels. That about sums up my life. Jen lay on her bed, drinking in her sadness. Eventually, she could feel herself falling asleep. Not 20 minutes later, Jen awoke to Lena calling her. She didn't even know that her mom was home. She felt startled and annoyed that her mom needed her. Can't I just be sad and alone? I have to be annoyed too. Elena kept calling. Jen finally answered, wondering why her mom couldn't just come upstairs. What, Mom? Jen yelled with extra anger in her voice. Jenny, the phone is for you. Phone. Ugh, I don't feel like talking to anyone. Well, I guess it could be Britta uncanceling. Jen's hopes rose that she thought of the possibility that she still may be able to hang out with Britta. So she dashed downstairs. Lena met her with the phone. It's Lindsay, Reverend Adams' wife, Lena said with big eyes and a cheesy smile to match. Jen shook her head as Lena handed her the phone. At that moment, she wished Lena was like Morgan's mom, who had no problem telling people that Morgan wasn't home when Morgan was standing right there but didn't want to talk. Jen knew that nothing she could say would prevent Lena from handing her the phone. She grabbed the phone in defeat. Hello? Jen said, trying not to sound annoyed. Hey, Jen. I hope this isn't a bad time. This is Lindsay, Reverend Adams' wife from church. Oh, hey, Jen said nonchalantly. So I was wondering if you were busy, maybe we could go grab tea, or if you're feeling really adventurous, we can grab dinner. I'm kind of hungry. Are you hungry? Yeah, I guess, Jen said agreeably. Okay, are you hungry for anything in particular? Do you have a favorite restaurant in the area? No, not really. How about Mexican? Yeah, that sounds fine. Okay, cool. Can I talk to your mom real quick? Jen passed the phone to her mom and listened. Oh, yeah. Jenny would love to go to eat with you. Yeah, she's so special. Oh, yeah, you can pick her up whenever you want. No, thank you. Okay, bye. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye. Jen couldn't help but shake her head as her mom spoke on the phone. Her embarrassment soon gave way to the nervousness of going and meeting Lindsay. Lindsay seemed nice enough, but Jen felt like she still didn't really know her. I mean, she's from church, so she has that going against her. She does seem cool when I talked to her at church for a couple minutes, but this is like a whole meal and just her and me. And what if she talks to me and is weird and she starts lecturing me for liking Star Wars again or something? Or if I somehow breathe unchristian-like or whatever. I just don't know. Jen was about to tell her mom that she wasn't feeling well and that she would have to cancel with Lindsay when her mom announced that Lindsay would be there in 2 minutes. 2 minutes? Already? I thought we were meeting later. No, she said she'd be around 4:30. Jen glanced at the clock. 4:28. Mom, why didn't you tell me 3 minutes ago that she was coming now? Oh, I thought she told you. No, she said today. Oh, sorry. I'm happy she's coming. I think it is so good for you to have another friend, like an adult friend in your life. Jen barely heard the last part of what Lena said when she ran upstairs to change. She had no idea what to wear. She didn't really want to wear what she wore to school, but she didn't know. Instead, she went up to the bathroom to fix her hair and redo the little bit of makeup she wore. She didn't know why she cared, yet her mom had trained her that all social interactions with others were important. All in all, Jen did consider Lindsay and Adam to be relatively cool compared with most church people. Lindsay's Honda pulled up in about 5 minutes later. Jen became more nervous when she stepped into Lindsay's car. Hey, Jen, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, I guess. Yeah, that's good, Lindsay said reassuringly. So, is this restaurant Tullum any good? I don't know. I've never been there. I've heard it's good, though. We don't really eat out too much. Yeah, that's okay. Home-cooked meals are always better anyways. Yeah. Their car pulled into the new or recently renovated Tullum restaurant. Jen thought the decor was kind of interesting. It had like faux stonework, like it was an archaeological ruins or something. Jen also noted that the floor was not completely unlike an archaeological dig, but instead of dirt and dust, there were bits of food and tortilla chips. Jen was happy to see it centered around only one table that looked like it held debris from small children. A young woman headed to the dig site with a sweeper. They walked to a much cleaner table by the window. As they sat down, Jen glanced out the window at the red maple that was about halfway through donating its leaves in honor of autumn. Lindsay peered over her menu and smiled at Jen and asked, So how are things? I know I just saw you like 2 days ago at youth group, but, I didn't really get to talk to you. Are you excited about the play? Yeah. I think I'd be so nervous. Yeah, Jen said, shaking her head in agreement. I never really did any theater productions, but I did sing in the choir and did band. Really? Yeah, high school is so crazy sometimes. I remember being so competitive with choir and band. Really? Yeah, I remember one time there was this girl, Cindy Carson. She used to get all the solos at choir concerts, and she was so pretty. And she did have this good voice, but it was like any solo automatically went to her. They barely had tryouts. They just gave it to her. Ha. I got so mad. I went and yelled at the choir teacher after class and told her I was going to report her. I don't even know to whom, but yeah, it was so crazy. Really? Jen doubted the idea that Cindy got the part because she was pretty, as she thought that Lindsay was very pretty herself. But she smiled as Lindsay continued. They ordered, and moments later, the waiter brought chips and salsa. "Thank you," Lindsay said to the waiter, looking right at him. "Thanks," Jen said, smiling. Remember that she should probably thank him as well. Lindsay spooned the salsa on her chip and took a bite. Salsa's delicious. "Yeah," Jen said, surprised at how good the salsa tasted despite her mouth feeling like it was partly burning. Yeah, the craziest part of all this is that when I finally got the solo at the concert, my voice cracked right at the most important part, and I completely messed it up. It was so embarrassing. The funny thing about high school is it was like a huge deal at the time, but all in all, it's really not a big deal. High school is kind of lame. Yeah, it is. Jen didn't know if it was just a spicy but delicious salsa or her story of her insecure high school self, but she felt like she was starting to like Lindsay even more. She seemed less of a weird church person and more like a real person, like someone you'd want as a friend. Jen thoroughly enjoyed the tacos they ordered, as she had not had tacos from a restaurant not named Taco Bell in a while. "So Jen, tell me more about yourself. What do you do? What do you enjoy doing besides eating tacos and advancing your career on Broadway?" Lindsay said with a smile. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Broadway thing, but I don't know. I watch TV and read and such. Yeah, read, huh? That seems to be a lost art. I feel like most students your age just watch Netflix and play video games. Not many read anything besides their homework and social media feeds. What do you like to read? It's kind of old and my mom always thinks it's weird that I like her so much, but I love Agatha Christie. "Yeah, girl," Lindsay said with enthusiasm as she held out her hand to give Jen a high five. "That is amazing. I absolutely love Agatha Christie. She has the most incredible twists and turns, and I feel like her characters are always all very likable, until she inevitably kills them off." "Yeah. I read enough of her books that I should know who the killer is, yet so often I'm totally wrong. It's someone random I didn't expect." "So what's your favorite one?" Murder in the Orient Express. Yeah, it's so good. What story has an ending like that? Crazy. I just read one of her books, and I won't tell you which one, so I won't give it away. But the whole story is told as the confession of the murderer. But you don't know that until the very end of the book. It's so crazy. Yeah, she's awesome like that. My mom always thinks it's weird that I always want to read about people getting murdered, but I think it's interesting. Yeah, I always tell Adam, I can think of so many ways to kill him now. Lindsay laughed. "Yeah, like poison salsa," Jen said with a gleam in her eye, before they both busted up laughing. "Wow, I was not expecting that, Jen. Waiter, check please," Lindsay said to the waiter that wasn't there. Jen just laughed and laughed. "So you're welcome to go ahead and eat the rest of that salsa, Jen. And actually, in second thought, maybe we can box that up. I'll take it home for my husband. That's the least I can do, really," Lindsay said with a laugh. Jen and Lindsay left the restaurant giggling. Lindsay gave Jen a big hug and wished Jen luck and told her that she was excited to see her play. Jen left Lindsay's car, happy to have had a much nicer time than she'd ever imagined. And that was chapter 14. So here we are with Jen doing her thing, living life and kind of down that her friend canceled, which is always a bummer, man, whenever you have your friends cancel. I feel like I've talked about that a lot in this podcast. I don't know why, but apparently that was a bigger theme in the book than I realized, but a bigger reoccurring plot part that her friends cancel on her. But it like just bums you out so much. Like when you're like about ready to, me and my boy Sean, we're about to hang out, watch a NFL playoff game, and I was kind of excited to like, I love the NFL playoffs. Yeah, as a Browns fan, I don't actually get to enjoy them for myself, but I still like enjoying it. And it's kind of almost more nice because I'm not like really emotionally invested. I'm more just kind of like interested to see what's going to happen, like who's going to win. Um, as long as like the Browns aren't playing and the Steelers have already lost their first round, in the first round like they always do. But as long as those things happen, those boxes are checked, I can like watch all the games, really not very emotionally involved, and I can enjoy it. So anyways, we're about to get together, and then just like has this pouring crazy snowstorm, and everything is closed. Every like restaurant is closed, and we just end up not meeting up at all. Even though I think we were both probably willing to venture off into the snowstorm to grab some food and watch a game, but all the restaurants closed and it sucked. So anyways, but it sucks. Yeah, like love my, love to chill with your people, Anyways, but it ends up working out, pretty well for Jen. She ends up having a really good time. So I want to kind of point out a couple things from the chapter. A couple of the names from this chapter. The name Britta. I think this is the first time we talk about Britta. I think later, or maybe she kind of came up like earlier a little bit, but she's kind of a friend from a different school. I felt like I always had friends from different schools. I remember high school I went to this church that was kind of like in between like 5 different school districts. So like I had so many friends from like different schools, so I was kind of used to that whole thing where your friends don't always go to your same school as you. And but the name Britta, that is from one of my very very favorite shows, Community. It is a show just called Community about this guy, going to community college and meeting all these strange and odd characters and people that are lovable. And the show really gets very 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 creative and very very interesting and just amazing, and it's so funny and so good. Yeah, I felt good about giving her a character from that show. Also, the name Jefferson High School. That was a local high school from where I grew up in Geneva, Ohio. Jefferson is a like neighboring school district, kind of like rival-ish kind of thing. Maybe not quite pure sports rival, but like they're always kind of like in our division and stuff like that. And we just played them. And I definitely had friends that went there and everything as well. But yeah, so Jefferson, I felt would be kind of a good name I could put there. Plus Jefferson is sort of like there's probably like 400 Jefferson school districts in the United States. So it kind of is a name you can you could do anywhere, kind of thing like that. But those are some of the names. Also, the name of the restaurant, Tullum, is actually... what's funny is there actually is a Tullum restaurant in like Twinsburg. It's like a Mexican restaurant, and which is kind of amazing. But so this restaurant Tullum in Twinsburg, it's not even related. Actually, before that restaurant existed, I actually put this in this book, and it's actually kind of a throne from Mexican restaurants are often named all kinds of things, just like any restaurants, and but Tullum specifically is a Mayan archaeological site in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And one of the places that my wife and I went to on our honeymoon was Tullum, and it was really cool. It was a kind of an awful boat ride to get there. I've never been seasick in my life until that time because we were in this like stuffy kind of like bus-like boat. And then finally when I went to the open air part, I could I didn't feel like I was going to throw up anymore, which was awesome. But once we got there, it was amazing. It was so cool. One of the neat things about this particular site, it's one of the few like Mayan ruins like right on the coast. So it's on this like beautiful like ruins like right on the coast of Mexico. And it was so cool, but it was so hot. It kind of sucked the fun out of it a little bit. Like, it was so hot. Like, Caribbean sun, middle of June. Man, it was blazing. But it was still awesome. So that's kind of like where I got the name from that and whatnot. And yeah, obviously the other one was Agatha Christie. I kind of talked about. If you cannot kind of tell from these, this the few references I've already made to that, I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan. I've read just about every single one of her books. I think her books are just absolutely excellent. They're so interesting and good. Her characters are so likable. I mean, she always has like elements of romance in between the deaths and stuff. But I don't know. I just think it's the whole thing, and it's kind of like the funny, like dry British humor. I also like the period of it. Like I like that it's from like the 1920s or 1930s or 40s or 50s. I very much like that part of it. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of mysteries nowadays. Mysteries nowadays, they have so much like weird, vulgar, like sexual stuff, like in the book as well, and like the murder, just like I don't know, just it's like too over the top, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't need. This is not really. I don't really. That's not my jam. Reading all this weird stuff. So I love that kind of time period because it really doesn't have that at all, and it's just they're excellent, excellent books. So I am a big fan. I watch a lot of the movies and almost am always disappointed. I'm like, oh gosh, why did they change that? Why did they change this? Why did they make, and so the movies always kill me because they always change like so much to like, oh, we got to make it more modern. No, just make it how it was. It was good before. Don't ruin it. Stop ruining things. All right. Anyway, so yeah. So that is a whole thing. And yeah, so those are some of the names and stuff of the kind of like the little side things in the story, little Easter eggs, if you will. At least the name Britta would be, anyways, like that. But yeah, I'm glad that Jen had like a good time with that. I remember like from the first times I ate lunch with like my youth pastor from high school. It was like this guy. Shout out to Pastor's dude. He was a cool guy, whatever. He was kind of, this is a cool guy, a little bit odd at times. He's grew up in North Dakota and just was a little different. Nothing wrong with North Dakota, but like, it was a little different than I was used to, and he was kind of an awkward guy a little bit. Not awkward. He was like super nice, but he was just like, he was funny and just not the most hip guy, but he was a good dude. And I remember like I was nervous, like, oh man, it's gonna be weird like eating with him. But it was really cool. Like he's really down to earth and stuff, and like just like even though he was a little different, he was still like, really nice person, like genuine person and stuff. And it ended up going a little bit better than I thought it would, and ended up kind of like enjoying my Subway sandwich that we went to, and it was a good time. But yeah, so I'm glad that Jen kind of got some time to spend, even though it wasn't with her friend Britta. She still was able to kind of have that community in her life and everything. So ended up being a good time. And one of the things that Lindsay kind of said in thing, she's talking about her, when she was so like kind of upset about like her singing her song wrong and mad about like the girl getting the solo for their. By the way, that whole solo part right there, this is another little Easter egg from this, is that whole like plot line of like, the girls, like her solo thing is actually taken from my wife in high school. So my wife is an excellent singer and worship leader, songwriter. She's very, very talented, and she used to sing back in high school. And she said that back in the day, she had a girl in her class that they would always like give the solos to, and she was like super mad that like, I think I want to say she either said, like kind of like said something to like the teacher, or maybe her dad said something, or somebody said, they kind of like, ended up saying something to the teacher, and then she finally got like a solo. But she didn't mess up like I wrote in the story for Lindsay. But yeah, that whole little kind of plot line of like, I'm just gonna take this from my wife's life, where she was kind of mad that Cellos. And I used to sing in choir. I used to sing choir back in Geneva High School, and it would sometimes be like that. I didn't really care about solos. I think I had like one ever. My buddy and I sang "Yellow Submarine" with the Beatles. We sang a little chorus of that, and we did like fine or whatever. But I didn't really care about like the solos so much. But I remember they'd be really competitive, and you have something, especially the girls specifically, would be like, ooh, they would like kind of, I was kind of like friends with a lot of them, so like they would like all kind of say like, oh, that girl, or then this girl is like that, and this, they would kind of go back and forth about it. Every once in a while the guys too, mostly the ladies. So it was very easy for me to visualize my wife's story with that. But anyways, one of the things that Lindsay says in the chapter, she says, high school seemed so important at the time. But then it really was kind of lame, and I think that's just kind of like a true thing. Like, sometimes you're in this season of your life, or like, especially like high school. I remember like, oh, this is so, people kind of like hyped it up a little bit, and probably college was better, to be honest, but not even probably, it was better, but yeah, it's just like, I think sometimes we get so caught up in like these seasons that we're at, and like we put our whole life around what's happening in our lives, like right this very moment. But then as time goes on, we kind of realize, hey, maybe it's not that important after all. Maybe that's, I don't know. Like it's just not quite as big deal as we made it. So it's kind of one of these things where life moves on. So it's good to not get too high or too low in all of those moments, because they do not last. There's certain seasons that even recent in my life where I'm like, oh, this is going to be for a long time. And then, something happens and it's not, like things just change more than you think sometimes. So I think that's a good thing, good motto to live by, that, like nothing is kind of forever. Things kind of come and go. And it's good to kind of keep a level head and not get especially too down about what's happening in a certain season, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. This too shall pass, and it will be good. But what will not pass is this episode, because it's super long. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that long. Maybe a little bit. But hopefully you're enjoying it nonetheless. And I thank all of you for listening, and I hope that you are enjoying this. And sorry for we had a little break for on the holidays for these podcast episodes. And we're right back at it. We'll be kind of hitting them out week by week here until the end of the story. So if you have any questions about the story, I want to throw this out. Any questions or comments or something you want to be featured on an upcoming episode of Peace and Podcast, let me know, and we will make that happen. All right, much love to all of you guys, and we'll see you next time.